Well, well, well. Good evening. You are listening to Dr. Margaret and Dr. Katie Speaks. And tonight we're going to be talking all about crystal healing and the chakras. And with crystal healing, it is an alternative medicine, obviously. And we are all about practicing alternative medicines over here and teaching you all about it. And it is a technique in which crystals and other stones are used to use to cure ailments and protect against disease. Now, there are proponents of this technique and believe that crystals act as conduits for healing, allowing positive energy healing to flow through the body as negative disease causing energy flows out. But despite that, the crystal healing has seen an upsurge in popularity in recent years and as an alternative treatment. There's so many people out there now using crystals, buying crystals, going to the metaphysical stores to gather up all the crystals they possibly can to have them laying on their nightstands or taking them around in their bras. I know that a lot of women do that.
That was my fault.
Yes, a lot of women do that. But, on the flip side of this, scientifically speaking, there is no evidence that crystal healing can be used to cure diseases. But because diseases have never been found to be the result of a so-called energy flow within the body. And so when we talk about crystals, we are talking about a pseudoscience, but there are a lot of studies out there that have found that crystals actually do heal. Now, the crystal healing proponents believe that crystals and gemstones have properties that facilitate healing, and many sites on the internet promote crystal healing, that they allege that the history of this practice is ancient and it dates back to 6,000 years to the time of ancient Sumerians of Mesopotamia. Ancient Egyptians are also referenced as well as among the first people to have adorned themselves with crystals, including lapis lazuli, carnelian, and turquoise, to ward off illness and negative energy. But the philosophy of modern crystal healing is based on traditional concept borrowed by Asian cultures, mostly notably the Chinese concept of the life energy, qi or ki, and Hindu or Buddhist concept of chakras, which we'll be talking about tonight, which are vortices of life energy that is said to connect the physical and the supernatural elements of the body. And so we're going to be talking all about crystals this evening. I know that Margaret has some therapies of her own which involve crystals, and she's going to tell us all about it.
Well, actually, I can see you did your research, so thank you for that. I've got to go back and be honest that I was born in 1942, and by the time I was 2.5 on the beaches and places like that, we happened to be able to go when it wasn't bombing, I would be picking up stones. And I would pick them up on pathways. I would pick up bits of glass that had been washed up by the ocean, that had been smoothed over. It didn't matter what it was, because what I saw was rainbow energies coming out of the stones. And of course, I'd run up to Mummy and go, look at this. And she'd look at it, she'd just see a stone. I realized at a very young age, probably by 4, that no matter who I told that I could see the energy passing through the crystals, I thought I was absolutely insane or something for a child of that age. My journey, I wrote about that, and I've got a book, and I'm going to promote it right away for people. Breakthrough Therapies, Crystal Acupuncture and Pterogram Therapy. This is the theory book. This is written according to my experiences throughout my life, to the point where I evolved crystal acupuncture and pterogram therapy. So, well, I'm not doing a pitch here. I want people to understand that I'm not just somebody that went to a crystal store and said, oh, I like this, and I bought it and sit there fiddling and wondering what it's doing. I had spirit guides in my head from as soon as I could talk. And so I soon learned that no matter what the adults said during the war and afterwards, that they couldn't hear the spirit guides. Well, I'm having teaching all the time in my head. So if I picked up, say, a piece of granite off the ground, of course, there's granite all over the world, and in there is quartz, which of course carries the energy through that stone. And so they were teaching me these things in a very baby-like way. Oh, this is a good stone. Go put it on mummy's leg. That'll help her. Okay. And so I'd run in, all excited, stick it on her knee or something. And she said, what are you doing? What are you doing? I say, I'm helping your pain. And she sort of, because mothers do what they do. Okay, go ahead, you know. And you'd see her face go from this frowning pain thing into, like, what are you doing? I feel stuff, you know. So she was my first guinea pig. And then as I put in the book when I was writing about my life story as well, I had an auntie, Connie Duck. She wasn't really an auntie, but everybody has an auntie when they're young, you know. And she always had migraines. And I just found a new stone that had red in it. And I obviously didn't know about copper and you know, all the different elements of anything at that age. I didn't know about, you know, for example, if you go to Sedona, you see all the red rocks and you know that there's iron in there. And so what I was doing with this stone was just putting it on the forehead and holding it, you know. And of course she said, what's she doing? What's she doing? So she said, oh, she's playing daddies and doctors and stuff, you know. And I said, and I'm just standing there holding it. And then all of a sudden, out of the stone came this little beam of light, and it became a red blob out on the edge of her aura, which was about 2 foot beyond her face. And that's because she was negative. There was this explosion. This red blob came out and exploded like a firework. And that was my first awareness that energy could be taken out of the body that was negative. And of course, in those seconds, her migraine disappeared. So what followed was me playing with my friends, daddies, mummies, nurses, doctors, you know, outside. And I got all these stones I picked up out of the dirt. And I would put them on the areas that my spirit guide told me, which I didn't know the word chakras then. And so I put one on the third eye, one on the throat, one on the heart. I'm not standing up today, I'll maybe stand up a little later, but one on my solar plexus, one on their solar plexus, and one on the PP area, not on that, but nearby. Because even in those days, we were very aware that you don't touch that part, you know. So I'm kind of putting it on like this, dropping it on. And I remember those things so clearly because I had the spirit guides in my head and they were saying, no, don't thump it on, let it fall on. You know, they're talking to me. And then I would sit back and these friends would all fall asleep. And then I would have this wonderful array of maybe 3 or 4 friends watching their auras like fountains, throwing off negativity. And so, of course, I asked them, I said, why is it going like this? Because it was swirling off, you know. And they said, oh, that's the stone is pushing it away from the body because they don't need it anymore. So that was the kind of intellect that I had at that age. So by the time I got older, probably I'd done anatomy and physiology in school, and I'd been using stones on and off on relatives, friends, anybody who wanted me to try and play, as it were, because that's what I was doing, playing. And so at that point, I was always telling people stones heal, because we didn't have the word crystals. It was stones. Stones heal. And what I found while I was practicing was over the years, because I went on into my adult life and was doing this with patients that came to me. And of course, in those days, you didn't have any opportunity to get a qualification.
Yeah.
There was no one to go to. So I was the only one, as far as I knew in my little world. I'm not saying I was the true only one. I'm sure spirit guides are giving it to all sorts of other people all over the world who were kids at that time. But in my world, there was no one to talk to other than my spirit guides. So I fast forward to my grandmother was dying and she had everything, the kitchen sink wrong with her. And I was combing her hair and I was looking at a crown chakra, and it seemed to me at the time that there was like a hole going from there all the way down to her toes and out through her soles of her feet. And so I happened to be in my bedroom because she was now in my bedroom and I was stuck with mum now, you know, temporarily. And so I was in the area where I had my stones. So without thinking, I just grabbed one and I put it on there. And she said, "What are you doing? My face is tingling." And see, so I got feedback. This is an example of what adults were doing to me. And I'd say, "I'm holding a stone, it's making you better." And she'd say, "Oh, thank you, darling, thank you." And then she'd go, because she couldn't breathe, and pneumonia and all these different things. So she had a lot wrong with her. And unfortunately, I knew she was dying. Spirit told me she was dying, and that I was using this stone not to make her better, but to prepare her for death. And I was 10. I hadn't gone up to my big school yet. I was still in the lower school. And so the next day, the doctors came and took her off to hospital. And I went off to school, and the teacher, and I remember these things so well because anything psychic is stuck in my brain. And my teacher said, "Today is a special day for seniors in England." I had no idea what that meant. But I remember her saying that, and she didn't say seniors, they called them old age pensioners, OAPs, because they were all pensioners, right? And so she said, well, there's a lot of people out there who need healing. And without hesitating, I put my hand up and I said, "I healed my nana with a stone." And she looked at me and she said, "Did you?" And I said, "Yes, stones are magic." And that was very much the kind of thing that I was talking about and telling right through until I became a public medium at 21 years old. And so by then I'd discovered quartz. Now, you can't believe this that you're younger, but can you imagine a world with no quartz in it? No quartz watches? Okay. Okay, can you imagine rose quartz never being discovered? Okay, and amethyst and all these things were known, but those things went into jewelry. So guess what I got into? I want jewelry because I've not seen these stones. I've been doing everything out of the
You still there, Margaret? Okay, Margaret has frozen. So let me tell you a little story. I'm not 100% sure what happened there, Margaret, but I will continue on. So last night I decided to get out my crystals, given the topic is crystal healing and whatnot. And I tried it out on a friend who did not believe that what was going on was real. So I said to him, "Okay, I'll hold out your hand." And so I used one of Margaret's crystals methods, and that is for crystal acupuncture. And we did this, I think, 2 shows ago, and we showed you that is to put the crystal on the end of your finger and go for the crystal acupuncture spots. And with that said, just going on to the tips. And I asked them, and because they were looking at me funny, and I said, "You know what? Crystals." I said the same thing as Margaret. Crystals are magic. And so I did exactly that. And I said, "What do you feel now?" And that person said, "My hand is tingling." I said, "What else do you feel?" And then I kept on the crystal on point, and lo and behold, yeah, he started to feel some shocks that went straight up his arm. I had connected with him on a different level. He's like, "I never knew that you could actually do this." And yeah, there you go. What happened? So we are going to look into crystals while I continue on. We'll just wait for Margaret. So there are a lot of crystals that we can use, and of course, treatment sessions, like Margaret mentioned about, you can place lots of various stones and crystals all over your body, and these on all of the chakra points. Now, of course, later on when Margaret comes back, we're going to be talking about the chakra points, and I will point out to you too that back in October last year, I had an aura chakra report done of me. And so I'm going to be showing you exactly what my aura is like. And we're going to go into depth about what the aura report actually meant, just as an example about what the chakra systems can do and what you can work on to align the chakras within your body. And so, like I said at the beginning of the show, you know, there are no scientific studies on the efficacy of crystal healing. And a lot of people, when they look at this, they look at the placebo effect. Oh, it may not, it's doing something, but I'm not sure what it is, or they just don't feel anything else. But placebo effects are the effects that accompany a treatment that is not directly due to the treatment itself acting on the disease of the patient. It's actually something else. There are other modalities at play here when we do such healing like this as well. So we're not just focusing on one thing. And give me 2 seconds, guys, while I find out what's going on. 2 moments. Sorry for the delay. All right, now I can continue. And so, where was I at? So, for those people who look at crystal healing and wonder whether it's safe, of course it's safe. Of course, you know, we've got to look for healers that are certified. I will tell you that. There are lots of people out there that like to collect crystals just because of the healing processes that it naturally gives off. However, it's because of natural medicine. But I will say that there are no state or federal laws that regulate or standardize the practice of crystal healing anywhere, or the licensing of crystal healing healers specifically in the United States. So, but it will be, it is very, very good of you to go do your shopping, especially when you're seeing a crystal healer. The reason being is because you've got to at least know what you're dealing with in terms of the crystal healing, and go on from there. And so, you know, you want to, just like when you employ a tradie to come and see, fix something in your house. Same thing with crystal healers, same thing with psychologists, same with psychiatrists, same with any type of healer that you can think of. Yeah, you would want to choose wisely. With that said, I'm going to stop right there, and I am going to take a brief intermission. I'm sorry, guys, that this has happened, but I will take a brief intermission, and just so I can find out what's going on. But I will be back. Give me about 10 minutes or so, and I will be back on board. Okay. So we're going to be back in just a moment, and I will restart the live broadcast all over again.